Hello everyone, you're welcome back to this channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you how to make a 4-piece skirt. It is a very easy one. Just take your time and watch the way I'm going to show you. So at the end, you are going to find it very helpful. So right now, I have a rough sketch of the 4-piece skirt. So the front panel is going to be 2 pieces and the back piece is going to be 2 pieces. That makes it 4-piece skirt. Now at the center here, there is going to be a joining. Okay, sorry, I'm not too good at drawing, but just take it like that. So there is going to be a joining here, so it's going to have a stripe. Okay, not ordinary joining. There's going to be in form of stripe here in this center. So right now I'm going to show you what it entails. Okay, now you can see it's 4 pieces already. This front part or this front piece is 2 pieces already. Now the width of this of your fabric will determine how wide you want the down part of the skirt to be. Okay, now in this case you can make it 18 inches in terms of the width, the wideness at the down part. You could make it 20, you could make it even up to 30. It actually depends on how wide you want it to be. So right now, in my own case here, I will be using one of the piece. The wideness of one of the piece, or the width of one of the piece, is going to be 22 inches, which means that 22 inches times 4 will give me like 88 inches altogether. Now I will be working with the front piece. Now I say it's 2 pieces in the front, so 22 inches and 22 inches, so 22 plus 22 will give me 44. So that 44, I'm going to divide it by 3. So it's going to be 44 divided by 3. Okay, so whatever it gives me approximately 15 inches, approximately. Now 15 inches. So let's go. You are going to get the logic I'm going to apply here. So how I will be working with the first 2 pieces, the front piece first. So you can see, as you can see right here, is on fold, which means this is going to serve as the 2 front piece, okay, of this skirt. So right now I'm going to measure what I have as the width. You know, I told you I will be making use of 22 for the wideness of this skirt, that is the down part. So you can see here is 22 inches. Like I said the other time, I said you could extend your own to be even 30. Then you could make it 25. That actually depends on you. So right now, haven't got the width ready. So you know the other time I divided what I have as the front, because 22 plus 22, that's 44, divided by, let me just say 44 divided by 3 will give me approximately 15 inches. So right now, come and see what I'm going to do. Now from this edge here, okay, I'm going to measure 15 inches. You can see I'm going to measure 15 inches. So I will mark. So I mark my 15 inches. I extend it here. I also mark that same 15 inches. From this side, 15 inches. And this is how I'm going to take it all the way downwards. So I mark 15 inches. So I proceed. I mark it, like I said, downward. So after marking it, the next thing is to connect the lines downwards. So right now, so as you can see right here, I've connected the lines from the waist side down, from this upper part down to the down part. So the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm going to fold this in. So I'm going to hide this first. So can you see what I'm doing right now? I'm hiding it first. So having done that, so right now I'm going to impute my reference line starting from the waist line or waist line down to the down part, to the full length of this skirt. So the waist circumference of this skirt is 30 inches, and 30 divided by 4. Now, lest I forget, this skirt is going to have a band, okay? So, and because of that, by the time I get to the down part, I'm going to deduct that, or I'm going to start right away. So right now, this automatically, this line, I will just draw my zero line. So let me quickly do that. I draw my zero line. So here is my zero line, and this line is serving as my waistline. Okay. So since I said it's going to have a band, so the band width is actually depends on you, but it shouldn't be between, it should be between 1.5 to 2 inches, but I'll be using 1.5 inches. So that is why you can see I place it right on that zero line. It means this 1.5 is going to serve as my bandwidth. So from that point, I'm going to mark, like I said, I'm going to impute my reference line. From that point, I'm going to mark my hip line. And the hip line simply means whatever, now the full length of this skirt is 38 inches. 38 divided by 2 will give me 19 inches. So 19 inches divided by 2, whatever it gives me, I'm going to subtract 1 from it. That is going to serve as my hip, like 19 divided by 2. Okay, 19 divided by 2 will give me like 9.5. So 9.5 minus 1 or 1.5. So I will be using like 7.5 or 8 inches for my hip line. So let me use 8 inches. So I have it right here. So from that point, I'm going to mark, I'm going to go straight to the knee line. Now, how do I determine my knee line? Now, the full length of this skirt is 38 inches. 38 divided by 2 will give me 19. So whatever, that 19, I'm going to subtract 2 out of it. So 19 minus 2 will give me 17. So 17 is going to serve as my knee line. So from this, I'm going to mark my 17 inches, and I have it right here. So if, for example, if yours is like, if the length of your skirt is 40 inches, so 40 divided by 2, is 20. So you are going to deduct 2 from that 20. So it's going to be 18 inches, so that you'll be able to move freely. So that's the essence of deducting 2 out of the half of your length of your skirt. So I have my new line here. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go straight to the full length. Like I said the full length is 38 inches. So 38 inches, I have it here. So I'm going to add 1 inch for my hem allowance. So I will be having the total of 39 inches. So I have it right here. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to connect this line horizontally. So that's the full length. Then here is my knee length. Then here is my hip line. This is my knee line. This is my hip line. And automatically this becomes my waistline. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to impute my circumference. Now for the waist circumference is 30 divided by 4 will give me 7.5 inches. So I have it right here. plus 1 inch for my dart. So I will be having the total of 8.5 inches. So I have it right here. Now coming to the hip line, the hip line. The hip for this skirt is 36 inches. 36 divided, instead of me dividing it by 36 inches, I'm going to subtract 1 from that 36. So, but later I'm going to add it back. So instead of, I said 36 minus 1 will give me 35. So 35 divided by 4 will give me like 8 3/4 inches. So I have it right here. 8 3/4 inches. So I don't need to add any dart in the hip line, on the hip line. So I move straight to this nail line. Now nail line is very simple. All you need to do, whatever you have on the hip line, like in this case, I have a 8 3/4 inches. So I'm going to subtract 1.25 from it. So 8 3/4 inches, I subtract 1.25 from it. So I will have whatever it gives me is what I'm going to impute right here. So you could subtract 1.5. So it actually depends on how fitted you want it to be. So that is that on the nail line. So coming to the down part, so that the down part, I will leave it as it is. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to go ahead and add my allowance. So for my allowance, I will be adding 1.5 inch as my same allowance. So I have it right here. So on the nail line, on the hip line, I had 1.5 inch or inches. Then on the nail line, I had 1.5 inches. So right now, I'm going to connect, tracing it like that. Okay. So if yours is going to, like I said, this one is going to be a band skirt, it won't have elastic. If yours is going to have elastic, what you are simply going to do is that whatever you have on the hip line, just transfer it straight to the waistline. That is, if it's going to have elastic. But because it's not going to have elastic, that's why I consider I consider my waist measurement. Okay. So the next thing is just to connect the lines together. So as you can see right here, I've connected the lines, okay, to the down part. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut this part off. And in doing that, you just have to be very careful that the one I kept inside is not being affected. So I will just trace the line like I'm doing right now. So I cut it out. So that's the end of the length. So the next thing I'm going to do right now, having cut out the shape, so I'm going to bring out the one I hid the other time, which is this. So I'm going to open it out like this. Okay. So right now, what I'm going to do right now is, I said it's going to have a stripe at the middle of the skirts. Both is in the front pieces. The front piece is going to have a stripe. So right now, from here, I'm going to come out by 1 inch. So half inch will be for the joining. Then the remaining half is going to be for the stripe. So right now, I come out by 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch. So I'm going to connect these lines together. So after connecting these lines together, I can now take it to the down part to give me the A line shape on both ends or on both sides. Now that I've connected, all I need to do right now, from this new line, I will just make a slant like this, okay? Making sure that it gets to the down part where the line stops. Let me bring it closer. Can you see? So right now, I will just connect the line. Can you see? So right now, I'm going to cut this side off. Then this is the remaining part. I cut it off because this is the length needed. So as you can see right here, I've cut it out. Here is the shape. Can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do right here is from the base, because I want it to give me a curve shape, so that except if you want it sharp like this, but if you don't want to leave it like this, you can just come up here from the down part, just come up by 1 inch, okay, 1 inch on both ends. So I will come up also here 1 inch. So I'm going to look for the center point. So I'm going to measure what I have right here, 22. The center is going to give me here. Okay. So right now I will just make a slight curve to the center, and also here a slight curve to the center. So also here I make that slight curve. So the next thing right now is just to cut this part off and also this part off. So can you see? Can you see the shape now? It has been reshaped. So the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take this piece and place it on another fabric to cut out the back pieces. So as you can see right here, I've cut the fabric for the back piece, and I've placed that of the front. This is the two pieces for the front. I've placed it on the fabric for the back piece. So right now, I want to tell you is that each time, whenever you want to cut the back piece, I mean the width of the back piece, try and add like 1 inch or 1.5 inch to the width. Like in the case of the front piece, I made it was 22 inches for the width. When it comes to the back piece, instead of 22 inches for the width, make it like 23 inches or 23.5 inches. So try to add extra inch to it because of the zipper. Supposing it's not going to have a zipper at the center back, it means you don't bother yourself. But if it's going to have a zipper at the center back, then you must try and add like 1 inch at least or 1.5 inches to the width of your back piece. So, and that is exactly what I've done. Look at it. So if you look at the base, if you look at this side, this is the allowance I've added, so that by the time I'm coming down, there won't be any shortage right here. So I hope that is clear. So right now we are going to start. So now since it's going to have a zipper, so I'm going to make my zipper allowance starting from the waist to be like, let me use 1.5 inch. So I'm going to mark 1.5. You discover that the stripe is going to affect only the front, and that is why I don't bother. I'm just starting my measurement right from the original line. Okay, so I measure 1.5. You could make yours 2 inches or even 2.5, it depends. So but in my own case, I'm making use of 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. So I'm going to extend it up here. So right now I come to the hip line. You remember in the hip time when I was imputing my circumference, the hip circumference, I said the hip circumference for this skirt is 36 inches. So I deducted 1 inch from it. So that 1 inch which I deducted from the front piece, I'm going to add it right now. So, and you know that it's going to be 2 pieces. So that 1 inch divided by 2. So I will be adding 0.5 inch to this hip line. Okay. Now plus the 1.5 inches for my zipper. So on this hip line, instead of 1.5 inch which I just mark on the waistline, is going to be 2 inches on the hip line. I hope you get it. And it's only on this hip line that I have this. So on the knee line, what I'm going to do is just to add the 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. So I have it right here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to simply connect these lines together. So I'm going to trace it and connect it together. After getting to the new line, so I will just go ahead and connect down to this point here, the down part. So as you can see, if you notice very well, you discover that it is on the hip line that seems to come out a bit just because of the buttock. So right now you can see I've connected the lines even up to the down part. Now in my own case, if you want to make it, or if you want to add tail to yours, then you have to extend this back by, like, it depends on how long you want the tail to be anyway. But if you want it to have a tail, then you can extend it. After extending it, then you make sure that you don't extend this side, this other side, because this is the center. Okay, you can only extend the center, not on the side. So by the time you connect right from the side here, from where this front one ends, and get to the length of your tail. So please take note of that. But in the case of this skirt, it doesn't have any tail. So this is where I'm going to stop for this reason. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to cut it out. Okay, tracing the line. So as you can see right here, I'm done with cutting. You can see the shape. You can see that the shape has really come out. Okay, obviously you know that this is the shape of a skirt. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do right now is to impute my darts line. So from this line here, this line, now the bust span for this skirt is 7 inches, and 7 inches divided by 2 gives me 3.5. So I'm going to add 0.5 to that 3.5, making it 4 inches. So from this line here, I'm going to mark 4 inches inwards. So here is it. Okay, so from this point, I'm going to mark, because this is the front piece. Now the length of my dart for this front is going to be 5 inches. You could make yours 5.5. So it's between 5 inches, 5.5. But I'll be using 5 inches. It's okay. So I'm going to mark it right here. 5 inches. So I connect the line like you see me doing. Okay. So the leg of the dart is going to be half. You remember when I was initially, I had a 1 inch dart allowance, that is half on my left hand side, half on my right hand side, which makes it 1. So I'm going to impute it half, half. So I will just simply connect to this leg here. Okay. So if you're a beginner, I will advise you to use your ruler to do the connection, so that you have a neat work or neat line. So just connect. Then I will also go to my right hand side like I'm doing right now. So I connect. Can you see? So now for the back piece, I'm going to come out by 0.5. So that of the back piece is going to start from here. So I'm going to transfer what I have right here. So it's going to start from here. So I'm going to measure 4 inches from this point inward. So the length, I will be using 6. You can use 6 inches for the back, because that of the back has to be a bit longer than that of the front. So you see that you use 6 inches or 6.5, but let me use 6 inches. So I'm going to connect. I'll be using 6 inches like I said. So I just connect straight to the waistline. So the dark leg is equal, half an inch on both sides. So I will just connect like I did in the front piece. So can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to make a demarcation right here. I'm going to notch so that it will be easier for me to locate by the time I want to work on the dart. So I'm going to notch just little. Okay, this is going to be a guide for me. So also here I'm going to notch just little. So I will also go back to the front piece. The dart I'm going to notch. Also here I will notch. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to place it on my facing and cut it out. So it depends on the type of facing, the length of the facing you want to use. You could use, if you want to use full length, it means the length of this, you are going to subtract 1 from your word facing. If for example, like in this case now, in this case, supposing in this case I'm going to, whatever I have, like in this case I have 39 inches altogether. So when you want to cut your facing, you are going to subtract just 1 from that 39. So instead of you cutting exactly 39 for your facing, it's going to be 38 inches, so that by the time you turn it inward, the lining will, or the facing will not be visible outside. But if it is a short one, then you don't need any deduction. Just cut the length of your nail, and that is all. I hope that is clear. So as you can see right here, I'm done cutting the facing for both the front pieces and the back pieces. Here is the front pieces, and I've also cut the back pieces. So it is time for me to sew or to stitch. So the first thing I'm going to do right here, I'm going to lay the facing. So on the right side of one of the front piece, so I will start from the down part. So like this. Okay, so I'm going to stitch from one end to another with 0.5 inch. So I start like this. So I stitch. So I also go to the second piece. I will do likewise. Here is the second piece, and Here is the interface. So I'm going to lay it to the right side of the main fabric like I'm doing right now. So please don't forget where I notch. So once you notch, you follow where exactly you notch. So that you don't get confused at the end of the day. So like I said, the notch is going to be a guide. So right now I'm going to place this on this also, and I'm going to stitch with 0.5 to the end. Now as you can see right here, I've stitched the down part of the 4 pieces. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to turn it like this. So right now I'm going to stitch the both sides like this, from down to up, and also this side from down to up for the 4 pieces. So this can be done in 2 ways. If you don't want it in that way, then don't need of turning it like this. So you are going to make this one to come outside a bit, like 1 inch, okay, like this, or 3/4 of an inch, just like the way it is. So right now I'm going to stitch. So by the time this one is preferable, by the time I stitch from down up, it means the joining will not be visible. But unlike the first one which I told you, if you are to do it like that, it means the joining here will be visible. So this one is preferable. So I'm going to stitch right now on both sides, and when I come to the other side I will do likewise. You can see that this one is being extended like 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to stitch downward for the 4 pieces. Okay, now as you can see, after sewing it, I've also turned it, and this is how it looks. You can see the joining is not outside, it's not visible, it's inside. So right now we'll go to the machine right now. This is the back pieces. I'm going to work on the back pieces, then I'll be right back. So as you can see right here, I've sewed the pieces together. This is for the front piece, and here is the stripe I told you of. Can you see the stripe? Very beautiful. So this is for the front. Okay, here is it, and here is the back piece. I also went ahead to sew together. So this is where my zipper is going to be. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to place it on each other, the front panel and the back panel together like this. So I make sure that they are equal. I arrange it in such a way that one is no longer than one, as you can see right here. Okay, so I make sure that it's of equal length. So I'm going to take the stitch from the down part. So I stitch, you remember I left 1.5 inches for the side seam. So I will also go ahead and use like so it's not going to be 1.5 now, because I've used little to turn it in. So it's going to be like maybe 1 inch or less than 1.5. So that is what I will be using to shape it from the down to the upper part on both sides. Remember, the zipper is going to be at the back, the center back. Okay, so as you can see right here, I've shaped the skirts. Can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to attach my band to it. So it is after I have attached the band to it that I will now impute or attach my zipper to it at the back. So right now I'm going to keep this aside. Now here is it. I've went ahead to measure what I have. So in the case of the band, the length of the band is going to be whatever you have as the waist circumference. So you measure the waist circumference, whatever it gives is going to be the length of the band. So I will just add like 0.5 inch at the edge here, just to stitch it together. So that is it. Now for the width of this band, I'm having 4 inches right here. Here is it, 4 inches. Okay, remember this is the what, the width of the band. 1.5 inches the width of the band. So that 4 inches is going to be half. I'm going to use half to hold it at the waist circumference, then half to fold it in. That makes it 4 inches for the width of the band. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and fix the band to the waistline. All right, so far so good. I've come to the conclusion of this tutorial. Can you see this beautiful skirt? I hope you like this, and I want to believe that you have found this tutorial very helpful. If you have, please kindly give it a big thumbs up. Thank you very, very much. This is the front and this is the back, and I've also fixed my invisible zipper. Okay, can you see how neat it is? Thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video. If you have any question regarding this tutorial, please kindly drop your question in the comment section. And if you have any comments, let me know your comments about this particular tutorial. Thank you, thank you. So if you are here to subscribe this channel, please kindly click on the subscribe button below, and you click on the notification bell so that you can get notified uh, regarding my new updates. Thank you very much. So till I come your way again, bye for now.